And oop, here we go. How are you getting on, lads?
Not
Well,
too bad. New tricks.
Life is well, isn't it? So today we're joined by Stephen from the Trojan Hemp Co. Tell us a bit about yourself and your business.
Yeah, so Stephen's my name, obviously. Thanks for the introduction. Thanks for having us on, by the way, as well.
Of course.
Myself and my partner who have set up the CBD company, Trojan Hemp Co. So we got into business about a year ago, and we've been working on various different aspects. And the last 8-9 months has been primarily focusing on CBD. And we got to work firstly kind of doing our research in different markets like the US, Canada, Europe, the kind of the more established and bigger markets, to take bits from those markets and kind of introduce it into to Ireland. I think Ireland are a bit further behind than the rest of the world with CBD.
I think in a lot of things, but
I
that
think we're
included,
behind the world in general, man. Didn't we just get internet there on Tuesday?
Sure, Cork only invented fire about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, they're no longer indigenous over there in Cork. Like the tribes have finally, discovered
Come
rock.
along.
Yeah. Yeah, no, in fairness, we are behind in that idea. When it comes to CBD in Ireland, with a lot of younger people, they'll be kind of a bit more well versed in it. They've never seen, like, I guess, anti-weed propaganda in the past. So all their favorite rappers do it, whatever. So they kind of get like, okay, it ain't gonna kill you, but
Yeah,
you might bring it up to your mom, your grandmother. It's a different conversation.
absolutely. Yeah, you can see the look in their eyes changes. Of, oh, you're not talking about that cannabis stuff, are you?
Yeah, I honest to God, I hate that kind of look because it's just an uncomfortable kind of fear, like,
Yeah.
and you just don't want to continue with it. But
Yeah.
here we are today having this chat, so we're doing it for people. Send us to your mom, your grandmother, whoever, and we'll have you sorted, lads. We'll have it explained.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, be up on Netflix next.
There you go. So when you were trying to explain to people, look, it's like a supplement. It's not a drug.
Yeah,
What was that like for you?
difficult. Difficult in the beginning. Definitely. Yeah. I think especially with, as you say, your mum and dad, there's definitely that stigma towards anything cannabis or hemp related. That's been there for a good few years. So that can be very, very difficult to break, especially because there's there's a lack of information available, but also because of that stigma attached with it, there's a lack of acceptance to try and understand it a little bit better, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's definitely there. But
Mm.
what would you do to change that? I feel like on your site you do a lot to do that, but overall,
Yeah, we try to take an informational approach through the content on our Instagram, the content on our website. It's more trying to educate people. I think a lot of what has been done in the past is just kind of bombarding people with CBD, and you get kind of a closed off approach to that. Then people will be less receptive to it. They won't be open to listening to what it is and why it's so beneficial to your health. So I think it's more of a slow approach. A lot of people will come around in their own time. So it's just about providing the information and taking it slowly.
yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. What products do you sell, like, in your company then?
CBD oils. Yeah,
CBD oils.
you specialize in CBD oils. It's the best and easiest way to supplement CBD. So for CBD to be the most effective, you have to take it daily. So it's much like vitamins, those type of supplements. You would take that then rather than other methods like vaping or smoking, which could have their own potential health problems linked with it. We kind of want to showcase the health side of it. So we approached it in more of a supplement base.
I did always think that was weird, seeing people vaping CBD or smoking. You can get CBD buds,
Yeah.
and then talking about the health benefit, like the smoke in your lungs and the now the oils in your lungs are saying other things to you, like. So
So oils would be a little bit different. So obviously with oils, there's no inhalation, there's no smoke, there's no vapor or anything like that. With the oils, you drop it under your tongue and you let it sit in, let it soak in. So the actual oil itself would be very simple. It's made from hemp seed oil, and then that's combined with they're called cannabinoids, which is like CBD, etc. So the oil form itself would be very similar to the likes of olive oil. So there's no like adverse health effects or any side effects from that. It's very similar to the standard oil that you get in your drawer, but obviously with more health benefits.
Yeah.
Do you source the plants yourself, or do you get them from an outside source?
We have a supplier in Spain.
In Spain?
Yeah. So we spent a couple of months testing different products from Ireland, and then we also spent a couple of months testing products from around Europe. So for products to be legal in Europe, they have to be made and produced in Europe. So we spent a good while, a couple of months testing out different products, and Europe are on a completely different level than Ireland are in terms of quality. Ireland have a lot of catching up to do.
Which is weird because you think we're in Europe, and yet we're so behind. It's crazy.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Well, we're kind of cut off from the rest. Like, we're more influenced by, the UK and America than anything else. Like, if you're sitting in France, you have Germany, you've Spain, you've Italy, all around you. Like, you're gonna get some cultural influence there, and some people from each culture around the border kind of area. Where here it's just way fucking different. So
a lot different. Europe have changed their tune very quickly over the last couple of months. There was I think it was 4 days before we decided to go into CBD market. The EU came out with the ruling that CBD isn't a narcotic, as long as it's produced legally and lawfully in an EU member state, it has free reign over each EU member state. And I think Ireland are trying to follow the UK a little bit in a sense. So the UK have kind of gone very restrictive on what can actually be in that product, etc. But Ireland are starting to follow that way, but obviously being under EU law, the government can't keep doing what they're doing really.
We do have a pretty backwards government. The priorities are in shite. But that's one of those weird things. It ends up being a supplement. It's been proven countless times. Like, all right, you're not going to be buzzing off it, but it's going to be good for you. It's like, would they ban a multivitamin?
Yeah, exactly.
Is vitamin gummies going to be the next thing? Is it going to be gone? Yeah. No, it's ridiculous.
Doesn't make any sense. A health supplement I don't want you to have.
Yeah. But we watched a lot of fighters, like, and some people competing at like the top of their sports, like they're all on CBD. So
yeah,
when I see that, I find it like more legitimate. Like, I think for some older people, they would probably have the same outlook if they knew someone who's on it. Like,
that was this or
yeah, like there's some like athletes that your parents might like idealize or something. Like, for example, Katie Taylor.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people would change their tune if she was on CBD supplements. Or Kelly Harrington. Yeah, if she was using CBD supplements, same as.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think with the sports industry though, it can be a tricky one because obviously a lot of sports have THC restrictions.
Yeah.
And CBD products have a full spectrum product will have trace amounts of THC in it because that's the closest to nature intended. So some sports they can't supplement with it, or they'd have to go for, they're called isolate products. So it just has CBD. It doesn't have any of the other beneficial compounds in it, which is the less effective oil. It's not as beneficial for your health.
Yeah.
I've heard that before when it comes to THC, because when we had Lisa Scott on, she's a psychotherapist in the States, and we had a chat about CBD. I don't even know how we got to it, but we made a whole episode out of it. She was saying like when people are having like high dose THC and they're not having anything else with it, it can start fucking them up. But if they had like a more CBD balanced weed, they'd be fine.
Yes.
CBD aids in like the come down, and it's obviously good for you as well. But Though that's one thing I'd never heard of until she said it.
Hmm. Yeah, so like in the hemp and the cannabis plants, there is a range of different compounds. So you'll find CBD and THC, CBG. That's another big one that's coming up at the moment. There's a range of different, they're called cannabinoids, and these cannabinoids work together to provide better effects. Now, if you have someone who's consuming THC with no or very little amounts of CBD, that can have kind of adverse effects down the road, especially if you're kind of prone to more mental health problems. THC can weigh heavily on that. So if you are of a high THC consumption, it's definitely recommended to supplement with CBD as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I know I've seen it, and I'm sure you probably have as well. And it's kind of weird because you normally see you can see like really successful people with it, or you can see like bums with it, like so.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
depends on the person and it depends on the usage as well.
Yeah.
Like
Definitely.
if they're properly using it or if they're abusing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it kind of does depend on the person. So
Yeah. Because that's one of the points people like to bring up, especially older people, is that if this thing is made legal, it will be abused to kingdom come. You know?
Yeah, there's definitely, that's still leads back to the stigma. You could say the exact same thing for alcohol. Alcohol is legal and it's abused daily.
Yeah.
People are dying from alcohol daily, but not one person has ever died from cannabis.
yeah. Oh, it's a weird one. That's a pretty good argument to just kind of fling out there, just to have that one ready on the cuff, like. Yeah.
Yeah. Weird stuff, man. But actually, a good question here for you here now.
You've got a lot of questions.
I do have a lot of questions. You're in government now, man. You've made it to the top. What do you change about drug laws? Like, what do you implement? What happens?
Whoa, that's a tricky one.
That is quite complicated.
Yeah, it's definitely complicated. There's a lot of different factors that come into play there. I think a health-led approach is the best approach to take, and I think our government are claiming they're taking a health-led approach, but it's not. It's a criminal-based approach, where they're targeting people who have small amounts of drugs and they're not harming anyone. It's not destroying the world. That's their personal choice, but yeah, I think dealing with it as a health problem rather than a criminal problem is definitely a better approach to take, and helping people understand why they're using drugs and helping them to manage them better or to even come off them.
That's fair, but there is some people you just can't help. Like
Yeah.
they really are that, fucked up. I'm sure you've seen it yourself. It's kind of obvious in some parts of Dublin. But yeah, you could see some people just they're kind of stuck there, and you would need to move a lot to try help them. We had Rob Kelly on before, addictionologist, and his big thing is like if he's gonna treat someone for addiction, they have to be willing to want to help themselves. Like
Themselves, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because at the end of the day, if they're not going to put the work in, or if they're not willing to put the work in, it's not going to come from it.
That's it. Yeah, it's a sad old site. But in fairness, we're talking about a health supplement here, so CBD is not exactly a problem.
No, not at all, not at all. There's actually been some studies as well that CBD can help with addiction problems, so with opioids and those type of drugs. So there's promising studies going on in the US for that at the moment. So definitely looking forward to seeing how that goes.
Yeah, keep an eye on that.
We talk about how far more Europe is ahead of us, but the US, man, Jesus Christ, they're there,
Yeah. And they weren't like 5-10 years ago.
Oh.
Yeah, absolutely. I think 2018 they brought the hemp bill back. So hemp, cannabis, anything related to it was completely illegal in the US up until 2018. And 2018 they reintroduced the Hemp Farm Bill, which essentially made all hemp products, like CBD, etc. They are now 100% legal over there. And since then, it's kind of been a snowball effect in terms of people understanding cannabis a little bit better and getting closer towards full federal legalization. I think a bill's been put forward there in the last 2 weeks for cannabis legalization on a federal scale. So that's absolutely massive.
Yeah, and they kind of lead the way for a lot of things. So if they do it, hopefully, some other places keep
More
an
than
eye out.
likely.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
Fucking awfully.
yeah. Awfully, the only county to legalize it or something.
Awfully County Council taking a stand with drugs,
Yeah. But there are some stigmas when it comes to like cannabis. Like, I think if you say you're going on a holiday to the Netherlands,
Yeah.
where does everyone's mind go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of the people put two and two together.
Yeah. Yeah. But like if you said, oh, I'm going to California, nothing. But it's like specifically in Europe, like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think it's kind of close to home, and like people know about it more. I don't think because of the stigma, obviously people are so shut off to anything cannabis, and a lot of news from the US doesn't reach a lot of people here, so they don't actually understand how close it is to being fully legal there. Yeah, but it's coming, definitely.
I'd say I think a lot of news gets here from the US. Maybe not about cannabis, but Christ, man, we never stop hearing about what's going on over there.
Yeah.
Constant. I know what's going on in the White House right now, but I couldn't tell you what Johnny down the road's doing. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I know some Texas governor just got COVID, and they're making fun of him or saying he's a dodgy lad.
But Leo Varadkar's been missing for the last 18 months. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's crazy.
It is.
Why do you think there's a big stigma in Ireland when it comes to cannabis? Because we understand why in the States, but when it comes to Europe, it's a bit more grey.
So Ireland in specific, a couple of different reasons I'd say. One is I'm sure you've seen the news articles and man arrested with cannabis bust, they're every day. They're in the papers every day. And when people are reading that, they associate criminality with cannabis and they don't see any other side to it. So all they're seeing is it's a dirty drug, it's ruining people's lives, it's funding criminal activity. So they're not really seeing any other side to it. And there's no education or there's no people to try and enlighten people to see a different side to it, because there is two sides to it. It can definitely be abused in the regulatory system it's in now, and being a criminal product. It is funding criminal activity. There is no regulation. There's no education, as I said. It's in bandits' hands, really.
Do you think then it's like, if it does become legalized, do you think there should be like taught in school how to properly use it and how to use it efficiently?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think
I wouldn't say school.
Like secondary school, man, like 6th year. I don't know. Like, do a leaving course on it.
But that's encouraging it. Like you don't have one to say, don't get drunk. Like,
encourage it. Like, it's good for you. There's no beneficial factors with alcohol, But like with like what you're saying, man, like it should be encouraged.
Yeah, well, maybe not encouraged, because then that does lead to abuse and it does lead to the wrong side coming from it. But definitely there does need to be education on it. And I think with cannabis, it covers such a wide range of things that in schools, maybe not the THC or CBD should be taught, but the actual agricultural and economical and environmental benefits should be taught. Absolutely. I'm not sure how much you know about the environmental factors from hemp, but hemp itself can make a wide range of different products, from plastics to fuel for cars. The actual cars themselves can be made from hemp, right down to the clothes. You can also get food from it, and it also takes in more CO2 than trees does as well. So there's a wide range of environmental. Yeah.
I was scrolling through Instagram before this, and I seen this thing, and a girl had like a hemp parmesan, like, so it can be used in making food as well. Like, I didn't really know about. I know you could like have hemp protein, but the
Mm.
fact it was like fucking hemp parmesan, like, you know,
Man, hemp,
some kind
hemp
of
can
vegan
be
food.
hemp can make so many different things.
Mm.
Like the seeds themselves can be used to make oil for cooking. That same the bio oil that comes from those seeds can also be used to power cars. I think the earliest discovery of that was Henry Ford. He made a hemp complete car from hemp that ran on hemp fuel, which was actually a carbon negative car. So it's pretty important that the information does start getting out. And I think the last couple of years has seen a big change in mindsets towards hemp as well, which is really, really important going forward.
Yeah, here hoping for more of that. It's a weird one. I remember being in first year, and there was a lad, and he was, I think his family ran like a hemp store, and he was big into that kind of stuff. And he talked about it so casually, but if he brought it up, I was kind of looking at him like, it's what
Yeah.
now? But now, like, being older and knowing more about it, like, it's just, yeah, whatever. Man,
Yeah.
you make fucking paper out of it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And like my personal opinion, I think the climate crisis that we're in now has a lot to do with the prohibition of cannabis and hemp, because, as I said, so many different products can be made from hemp. If we were using hemp for paper rather than trees, we wouldn't have the deforestation that we do today. If we were using it to make cars and fuel, we wouldn't have the oil crisis that we have. It's a really a knock-on effect, and I think the next few years are going to be very important to kind of readjust into the way it should be.
Mm.
And we need something like that right now, this miracle thing just to save us, man. Because wasn't there an article recently that came out and said that we're too far gone in climate, or
Well,
am I?
some guys think we're too far gone. Some
Yeah.
guys think we've 50 plus years. Some guys think we have till tomorrow. At the end of the day, it's just like a climate scientist opinion when they say that,
Yeah.
or it's
Oh,
their opinion or their observation after looking at whatever.
mm.
At the end of the day, they're just people like the three of us, and one guy might just be fucking terrified.
Very true, very true, and a lot of hypothesizing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I read something very similar, that it was till 2025 that we have to revert the damage that we've done.
Well,
That's not gonna happen.
good luck.
Jesus, man, fuck.
I do think there is a lot of panic there though, because
Mm.
in fairness, a lot of us are going to be pretty okay, but some places that are lesser developed are going to be fucked, and that's a massive concern.
Yeah.
But
But
I
even
suppose,
some of the more developed countries, like if you may see in the news the last couple of days, there's been floods throughout Europe. Turkey's a lot of Turkey's on fire at the moment, and that all stems from climate change.
We are fucked, man. I love when we talk to like people involved in the climate and stuff. We had not paleontologists. What are they, Jared?
permaculturist.
That's it. We have permaculturists on. We talked to a climate expert. What's his name? The guy who wrote the book. Can't think of his name now.
I read his whole book, and it's
Yeah, I can't. But we had him
his
on,
face.
and every time we talk to them, I love talking to them because they just like to inform us of how fucked we are. And it requires this massive cultural change if we want to save the planet. Just will not be done.
Yeah, very unrealistic to think that that's going to happen in such a short space of time.
Yeah.
But in fairness, it's been worse before. The climate's been even hotter. Things are still alive. It's gonna fuck up a lot of what we have today, but it's not like the world's gonna blow up at 2025 at midnight. Like, it's gonna be very difficult, but we'll still be fine. We'll still be all right. Like, we'll have a lot of damage to try fix, and we'll have wished we actually did it properly.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're not gonna blow up like the Death Star.
We're on a timer now, schedule.
Yeah. It's interesting, like the environmental bit with hemp, because I know like it can do a couple of things. I don't really think about it too much, but when you're saying there, like with the hemp powered car back in the day, that's fucking cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, There's more recently as well, there's a cannabis company in Canada who's actually made a plane from hemp that runs on hemp fuel as well. So there's some big things happening. Like, it's very exciting to
That's
see.
something.
That's
My
cool,
my
man.
concern with that is if you had a fire, like that shit's basically like hemp cardboard.
Well, actually, the material that comes from that, it's from the fibers of the stem of the hemp plant, and when that's turned into that material, it's actually stronger than steel. So the car that Henry Ford made was, I think, was 10 times stronger than steel. Don't quote me on that now. I think it was around 10 times stronger than steel itself. So it's actually more durable as well.
Now, to anyone listening, like that sounds fucking preposterous. But like if you think of like spider silk, that's an organic compound that's way stronger than steel. Like so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it is like, again, I've obviously been in the industry for a while and have that kind of passion to research more on it. So the information is definitely there. We've got a page on our website, Hemp Matters, and that goes into all the different types of uses that come from hemp, like the industrial side of it, how it was actually used widely for rope in sailing and lots of different industries around the world up until, I think it was the 20s and 40s. That's when kind of cannabis prohibition started to come in. But up until that point, hemp was like pretty vital to our life at that
George
stage.
Washington grew it.
Yeah, yeah. And it was actually, I think now this is hypothesized. I don't know how true this is, but it was actually said that the bill, what's the bill? The American Declaration of
Independence. Yeah.
Independence. Yeah, apparently that was actually made on
Really?
paper. Yeah.
And did they put the map, draw the treasure on the back of that? Is also made of hemp.
Nicolas Cage coming in.
And like the history with it is, it's crazy. Like the ancient Romans used to have it. They didn't smoke it, but they chewed the seeds. They ancient China, massive superpower back in the day, and guess what they did with it? They smoked it. They used it as an incense thing, and they were just chilling. They could do a lot with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even like thousands of years ago, because
Yeah.
Rome was like around in the BCs, like what 500, 400 BC, 200 BC, that kind of timeline. So
I think
it's fucking old.
the earliest records or discoveries of hemp was 5,000 BC or 6,000 BC. As you said yourself, the Chinese used this. They used the resin form. They used it mainly for, as you said, recreational or adult use, and then also medicinal as well. But they also used it for paper and a wide range of other things as well, like clothing and stuff like that as well. So it's very versatile in what hemp can do.
Yeah. Like, and there's that whole gap in between Rome and China where civilizations around where the plant comes from would have used it as well. I just don't know fucking anything about that.
Yeah, it was actually, funnily enough, it was actually an Irish doctor who reintroduced hemp and cannabis into the Western world. So it came from William O'Shaughnessy is his name. He was in India, and he came across a cannabis drink that was used for medicinal purposes. He then brought that back to Ireland, and that then spread throughout Europe. And I think the Queen at the time, Queen of England at the time, was using it as well. So it dates back thousands and thousands of years. Cannabis is like pretty interwoven into human history.
But we kind of live in like a dark age of it where it's just been suppressed.
We're in a blip of time where cannabis is demonized and prohibitionized. But in the next 10 years, I'd say worldwide, well, maybe not the next 10 years, but the next 50 years worldwide, cannabis will be back to how it was pre-prohibition era.
Well, you're hoping.
Yeah.
Do you think there's also a certain amount of people who over idolize it?
Yeah, definitely. Especially people who would be cannabis consumers like myself. I would have been one of them. I would have been completely biased to it up until about a year ago. And my own, like, I would have been a weed smoker back then, and I definitely abused it. I used it in the wrong way. I smoked every day and too much every day. And it was only getting into CBD that I kind of took a step back from that and saw that, okay, well, my consumption of it isn't healthy. The way I'm using this isn't benefiting my health. It was actually having bad effects on my mental well-being. And at that point, then I started to get into the likes of yoga, meditation, started supplementing CBD, and it's meant the world of difference.
Yeah. Yeah. And what made that change?
So
Like,
it was
when
at
did
the
you
start
say,
of
shit, I'm doing this wrong?
So at the start of lockdown last year, I went into a bit of a rabbit hole. Just all the information on COVID was out there, and I just kind of shut myself off from the world. Went into my little cave, just smoking a lot of weed, playing a lot of PlayStation. Didn't really have any ambition or drive to do anything else. Excuse me. And yeah, just wasn't happy. I wasn't happy with the way things were going. I was just smoking too much, playing too much PlayStation. Wasn't taking myself out of that, staying up till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. And I did that for a month at the start of lockdown, and after that, then I kind of realized this isn't healthy. Need to kind of assess what I'm doing here with myself, and I can't keep living like this. And that's when I started getting into yoga and meditation, which helped massively. And then started supplementing CBD, and that was just a complete game changer.
Shit, man. Props to you for that massive change. I mean,
appreciate it.
Yeah, fuck
It's
yeah.
easy to fall into a rut, and
It is, but
I feel like there's people who are still doing that this far into the pandemic. Yeah, I know the feeling. Feel like a bum at the start of it. Put on a bunch of weight.
Yeah, massive. I put on 10 kg or something like that. Just ridiculous, like.
Yeah, it was a weird one. It was a weird one. Not good for your health.
Nah, definitely not.
Has there been anything to suggest that taking CBD might help with COVID or relieving your symptoms or so on?
I'm not personally going to make any health claims or anything like that. Just for legal reasons, we could get
Of course.
But one of the things that CBD does help with is inflammation, which is a common problem from COVID. So there's potential. Obviously, more studies would need to be done, but yeah, I wouldn't be too sure myself.
Yeah. Just I suppose it's interesting to link the two, because we're stuck in COVID and we're talking about CBD. So yeah. That's
definitely
interesting.
I think with the regulations and with the stigma that's attached with cannabis, I feel there's not enough studies being done to look into that. I think if we didn't have the stigma attached with it, there would be a lot more studies going on. And I think in some countries there are more studies going on, the likes of Israel. That's like the birthplace of medicinal cannabis. Canada and the US as well. Another compound from cannabis that's being looked at for stuff like that is terpenes. So terpenes are aromatic compounds that you find in hemp and cannabis, but they're also all around nature. They're the reason pine trees have the smell that they do. They're in lemons, lots of different fruits, but those terpenes have different effects and different benefits. So there's one company in Israel who are looking at the potential of using terpenes for viruses and stuff like that. So definitely be interested to see how they get on with their studies over the next while.
That's interesting. Sure. And yeah, you're right about, it is the stigma, and that's why we're not doing more studies. And I gotta know, that is it just up to the government to get it done, or is there more we can do, or what?
It's kind of just up to them. like whatever they make legal or not.
A lot of it is up to them, and I think with doctors and scientists, etc., they can't really study something that's not legal, if that makes sense. So I think in the US, there's a lot more studies going on, but they've got the FDA, which are kind of blocking that from happening. I think that ties in a lot with pharmaceutical companies. I don't think many pharmaceutical companies want a natural remedy out there that people can use themselves and supplement themselves.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but such is life. Yeah. I could go on for hours about big pharma, like, so I'll avoid that one.
Yeah.
I'm sure you talk about it a fair bit in your business.
Say it again.
I say you probably talk about big pharma a fair bit in your business because you're
Try
kind of
not
fighting
to.
against it.
Yeah, I try not to. That's one of my downfalls for my own mental well-being. Just seeing the control and the influence that they have on keeping cannabis illegal. Yeah, I try not to think about it too much, but it's definitely a factor that comes into play.
What do you think it would take for it to become legal in Ireland?
More information. I think the public getting on board and understanding it a lot better will definitely push it a lot further and a lot faster. I do believe that hemp and CBD will be the Trojan horse for cannabis being legalized. Hence the name.
I like it.
I like
Yeah,
it.
I like that a lot. Shit.
I did want to ask about it because I'm thinking Trojan.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think I think hemp and CBD will definitely be a foot in the door for people opening their minds to it. Hemp, like there's no psychotropic or intoxicating effects from hemp or CBD. So I think that's gonna fight some of the stigma that, okay, well, this plant does this without giving you that intoxicated feeling. You can't abuse it in the same way that you would with THC. So that kind of gets rid of that argument in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think if they legalize weed in Ireland, it would kill like pure CBD places that you'd have to transition into cannabis as well?
No, I wouldn't say so. I think because THC isn't for everybody. Not everybody likes smoking weed. It doesn't have the same effects for everybody. So CBD is something that is for everybody. I think personally CBD is going to be a lot bigger than THC will. Because it's so new to a lot of people don't understand what it is or what it does, why it's so important for your health. I think with time that'll change. And I think the more that changes, the more people understand it, the more people will start supplementing it. And CBD it's definitely the more health-led approach.
So as far as you're aware, what does CBD do for you, like?
So there's a range of different benefits, but in general, CBD is said to help promote calmness and general well-being. So you have a system in your body that was discovered in the 90s called your ECS, or endocannabinoid system. And that system naturally produces compounds that are almost identical in structure to CBD and THC. So that's why they have the effect that they do and the different health benefits. CBD itself helps your own system that ECS system, it helps it to perform better. The ECS itself, what that actually does, it's like a regulator. So, you've got your central nervous system, your respiratory system, you've got all these different systems and processes happening in your body. The ECS modulates them and makes sure that they're all working in sync to keep you at your best. So that's why that system is like vital for health, like absolutely so important. And it's bizarre that it's not being taught in school.
Yeah.
It's pretty weird.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I have enough to complain about the education system as it is, man, but they should be teaching us about this, I think. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It'd be great if they actually talked about something interesting.
Okay.
I remember just dying in biology class. Like
No,
mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. You know, it's just mind melting in there. Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, good man. All good.
So what
Yeah,
else you
no.
got there for us, Thomas?
What else do I
You had
have?
a whole essay written.
I do, and I think we've gotten through a lot of the points here. I have should I got recreational. We talked about that. You said it should be like alcohol. You should be able to buy it if you're over a certain age
Yeah,
and use it as you
yeah.
want.
I think adult use would be the terminology I'd use rather than recreational, because you wouldn't say I recreationally use alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to that, do you think that it should be like alcohol where it's at the age of like 18? Or do you think it should be at a later age?
It's difficult to say on that one. Personally, I'd say 21. But yeah, it is difficult because everybody is different. It affects everybody in different ways, and people use it for different reasons as well. So yeah, it's a tricky one. Like 18, 21. Realistically, if alcohol's legal age limit is 18, it should be on par with that.
Yeah.
Alcohol should be probably a little bit higher up at 21, but
Really?
that's the
I
way it's for.
I don't agree with that one. I respect it. Though. I think it should be lower alcohol. It should be introduced because then if you're introduced with it with your parents at a younger age, say like 15, 16, you're not going to abuse it as much.
Well,
So
there's laws in
Yeah,
Ireland that are like that. You
yeah,
can
it's
have it
5
at the age of 5
in Ireland.
in a home
Yeah,
environment with your parents'
parental
consent.
consent, age of 5.
Yeah. So if at Christmas, if you were given a glass of wine, you were allowed to have it. Like,
yeah,
there's nothing illegal there.
No.
You could get fucking pissed at home from the age of 5 up, but I mean that's it. Um,
that just
yeah,
goes. Oh,
I do like that law in Ireland though.
Yeah.
That it's like up to your parents to do it. And I hate that's not the case in the States.
Yeah.
Is like imagine like when they turn 21, man, they go fucking crazy. Like
mm,
imagine if you just had it at 16, you had a barbecue. Your parents are doing one. Oh, do you want a Bud Light? Like, oh yeah,
yeah,
sound. Or like whenever there's something going on at home, yeah, you could do that. People wouldn't be so crazy after it. Because when something's like held away from you for so long, you're gonna go
yeah.
crazy when you get to have it.
When you get it, yeah. But like I'm sure you know yourself, like the Irish culture is a lot of it is built around drink.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that is it's not great
No.
because whenever you're like, I know from myself, I don't really drink that much anymore. I'd have like the odd beer here and there. But when you're going to meet friends and stuff like that, it's generally the pub you're heading to.
It's kind of unavoidable in that sense, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think we'd both be the same. I think the pair of us barely drink at all.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not fun. Like
It is fun sometimes. Come on.
sometimes, but like man, it's like
crack, like, and it's good to have that social environment with a good group of friends, like, but I think when you're doing it week in, week out, every weekend, it's awful. Like you're recovering up until Wednesday, Thursday, you're getting excited for the weekend again, and then you're back out. That's it's a vicious cycle.
it is.
So, Sunday or Monday, you're just dead. Yeah, no, dodge that one.
Like a zombie in airplane mode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back to the questions. I've gone through most. I think all of them. I got. We didn't talk about much about THC, but like, I get what it is. I get what it does.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, but yeah. All in all, we've covered everything on my list. I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm satisfied.
Good man
Okay.
yourself. Well, I suppose that's kind of it. We've done 45 minutes so far. So if people want to check out Trojan Hemp Co. and I want to keep up with you, how can they do it?
Follow us on the Instagram. That's our main platform there at the moment, and to the website as well. If there is any questions that you have, I'm sure you'll be able to find the answer on the website. Packed full of information there. We've got some blogs up as well, with just some general wellness tips and like managing stress as well. Because with supplementing CBD, you do have to take a lifestyle approach to it, where you do have to put in the work on other ways of improving your lifestyle rather than just taking a couple of drops in CBD and expecting all your problems to be washed away.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot more than just taking something. That's
Yeah.
a thing with, like, when you get prescribed meds as well. There's a lot more than just you take the thing and it'll be grand. But
Yeah.
that's a whole other podcast. So yeah, if you want to check it out, they know where to find you. I'll have it linked below, and it'll be all fine and dandy. So make sure you do. Stephen's a fucking sound lad, so I'm sure he'll answer any question you have.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can always reach us on the Instagram and shoot us an email if you have any questions or anything like that. Always here to help.
There you go.
Of course.
A sound man. So there you go. If you want to check him out, you know where to find him. If you got this far in the podcast, honest to God, fair fucks to you. It was a mind melter. If you didn't want to learn something, I feel bad for you. If you did, I'm happy for you. So fair play for getting this far. Take it handy, and bye bye.